What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Optimize You podcast. If this is your first time, welcome. If you're coming back, welcome back. Remember, we are providing you with all kinds of value to help you guys optimize your life in every area. And today, we're going over a popular topic. Most people are asking about this one. It is supplements. What supplements to take? What do supplements that Alex and I prefer or we take on a daily basis? We're going to dive into all of it. Alex, what's going on, man?
What up, dude? It's good to see you, man. We have this has been a while since we've recorded a podcast together. We've been doing kind of solo pods, trying to make it work. My schedule's been crazy for the last month, so I just haven't been able to kind of link up. But it's good to see you, man. I've been good. I kind of just mentally don't even know where this half's gone. I didn't get in the gym. I said on one of the podcasts that I recorded solo, I was out of the gym for a month, which is crazy. Now that's not to get workouts in. So I got 4 to 5 workouts in a week just from home, doing like small things, 10 to 20 minute workouts, like just made it work. But I finally got back into the gym this week and still eating good, using the crock pot, eating way too much fucking chicken, honestly. but we're doing it. We're making it work over here and feeling good. Weather is beautiful down here in Arizona right now. It's like 75, 80, sunny. It's really, really nice. Last month was a lot of rain, and so it seems like we're kind of a little bit out of that. And I'm looking out to some beautiful, beautiful here. But how you doing, brother?
Good, man. I was going to say, there's no way that you didn't not work out for a month. You just didn't go to the gym for a month. And then you're like, okay, you're doing workouts at home. That's a perfect example of showing you like how somebody like you that far in your journey doesn't just completely throw in the towel when life throws them curveballs. They don't just hit the off button. You're like, okay, what can I do? And I think that's a really big golden nugget that people can take is what can I do given my current circumstance and my current situation? If I can't go to the gym, 10, 15, 20-minute workouts. I know you have a set of dumbbells at home. I think you might have like a bench too. And of course, body weight, right? People overlook that stuff. So you still moved your body, which is huge, man. That's awesome. I think a lot of people are just quick to on the towel as soon as they get some sort of challenge or speed bump that life's going to throw them. And you're getting new curveballs with the schedule, right? With a fairly new year. And so you're finding ways to make it happen. And so that just goes to show like, okay, that's somebody who's a veteran, who's experienced, who won't take no for an answer and will stay persistent in their process and in their journey. I think that's a really good example. So hopefully people heard that one. I know we're talking about supplements today, but that's a big one. Instead of throwing in the towel completely, this binary spectrum, either I'm firing on all cylinders or I'm not doing anything at all. There's a bunch of middle ground in there. And Alex gave you a great example of what he's doing in his life right now. So that's really, really cool, man. But I'm good, dude. Weather here is hitting beautiful days, like low 70s. I think we had like 73 was the high. And then today we're right back to low 50s, high 30s, gloomy, cloudy, I think rain off and on today. But we got some glimpses of it, man. So it's going in the right direction for sure.
That's good. You've been getting out fishing at all yet? You getting that boat
Dude,
out
I
there?
have not, but I'm so close. I was just messaging one of my buddies today. He's headed out on the water today. And I got thrown some curveballs with my boat as far as I had to order parts. So it's going to extend it out maybe another week or two, but we're pretty darn close, man. Really close. Excited. It's pre-spawn season right now, so they're feeding up before they spawn up shallow and make babies. So yeah, I'm excited, man. It's one of the best times of the year right now for fishing. So yeah.
I love it, brother. So should we get into it here? Supplements. So supplements, I think the first thing that comes to mind when I think of supplements is that, I know I used to, like, early on in my journey, this used to be one of the first things. I was like, what supplements, kind of almost like the quick fix mindset, like what can help me build muscle really, really quickly? What can help me? What's going to give me that big edge? And what I learned over time with supplements is that it's really that extra like percent, right? It's really like just a small percent. I've heard people talk about it being the sprinkles on the cake, right? Just that extra little bit that's going to get you a little bit farther, but only if you have a really stable foundation, right? If you're doing all the things, if you're eating the right way, right? You're eating quality foods, sticking to like the 70 to 80% quality stuff. You're moving, you're working out, you're sleeping pretty solid, stress low. If you're doing all these things, or you're doing the majority of those things pretty well, on a consistent basis, then now we start talking about supplements. And that's not to say you can't take them beforehand, right? They're going to help you a little bit, some of them more than others. We can go into that, the ones that we take and why we take them and start with. But, what comes to mind is just like really nail down that base, like nail down those habits, get in the gym on a consistent basis, get your 7,000 or more steps a day, focus on eating at least, I'd say 70% quality, like nutritious whole foods throughout the week. Just if you focus on some of those things, you're going to get into a place where these supplements can actually show what they're doing, right? As far as like, if you're not eating right, if you're not moving, if you're not working out, then you're not even going to really see the benefits of these supplements. It's going to be such a minuscule amount. It's not even going to matter. And so these supplements kind of just take you to the next level. And so that's kind of my main, like, kind of starter for supplements that I kind of think of when I.
That's a great way to look at it too. I think it's one of the first questions that a lot of my brand new clients ask, or people that just reach out to me and ask, and they're trying to, take that first step in their journey. It's always has to do with supplements. And then my next question to them will be like, well, what's your nutrition like? Because a lot of the supplements that you are gonna want to take or have heard of or interested in taking, a lot of them are going to be covered if you have a balanced diet. And if you can do that, if you could start switching out some of the processed stuff that you're eating. I know it sounds boring, but there's some stuff that you'll probably waste your money on that you can get through single ingredient whole foods, through nutritious foods, and just switching out some of the stuff that you're currently eating. Not all of it, but just some of it. And an easy way to do that without like diving into the weeds is making sure that you have some good, high quality, lean protein meat sources, and then making sure that you have a colorful plate too. That's always a good one too. People forget about that. It's like, make sure you have some color in your plate, not just super bland all the time. Get those fruits, get those veggies. Those things are packed with minerals, micronutrients, vitamins that are going to help with your gut microbiome, your energy levels, just how you operate on a day-to-day basis, which will make you surpass kind of a lot of the supplements that are out there. And if you do that, you're going to be leaps and bounds ahead, and you're going to save a lot of money too. So now you don't have to double up on getting food and then also buying additional supplements. Because here's the thing that people forget about supplements too, is a lot of these, I know there's a green supplement out there, and I'm sure there's other ones too, where it's like it's on a retainer. So it's on a recurring monthly fee. They're shipping them to you regardless of whether you use them or not. And so you have to take that into consideration as just a monthly ongoing expense. So supplements are one of those things where it's like very rarely do you take them and then all of a sudden you can just like find a stopping point. So it's very committing to the long haul sort of thing. And I say, before you commit to all these supplements that you're even considering, food first and foremost, and then where you have some weak points or areas or where you need to bring up a little bit, that's what supplements are really used for. Not like, I think people have this misconception of like, once I take all these supplementations, that's the missing key. That's going to be everything that I absolutely need. And since I wasn't taking them before, and all of a sudden I'm going to take a bunch of supplements and I should feel amazing in the gym. I should feel phenomenal. I'm going to have all these gains, and it just doesn't work like that, unfortunately, And so I think if you understand how small, although important, how small a piece to the puzzle that it actually is, it's a very small portion to a much bigger piece of pie here. So what are some of your supplements that you like, recommend, take? Or let's say if somebody was just coming and they're starting their journey and they're kind of lost, like what would be your recommendations to them?
I've always been a huge proponent of vitamin D, magnesium, fish oil, and creatine. Those have been my big ones. And then for people, I always like to clients who struggle to get protein in, like a solid quality protein powder is good. And I honestly, I keep a lot of protein bars around, with my job being kind of all over the place. I just pack a few of those to just be some quick. I know it's processed, right? It's not necessarily the best thing ever, but it's sure going to beat some other snacks that I could eat throughout the day. And so at least I'm getting some protein in throughout those snacks. So reason like vitamin D, one of the things that a lot of people are deficient in, especially you see like the northern states where for half the year you're not getting outside as much, not getting in the sun as much. Definitely something that I think everybody really should be doing. And it's probably one of the cheapest out there too. Like you can get such a small or such a large amount of vitamin D that lasts you for probably close to the year for a pretty small amount of money. And so what I
Yeah.
always recommend and what I take, I just take 5,000 a day, 5,000 IUs a day. And, so you can try that out. 10,000 could work for you, especially if you're maybe in the northern states and not seeing the sun as much. If you're getting outside a ton, if you're in the South like I am and you're getting outside a ton, you maybe don't need as much or maybe even any at all. Right. And that could be something too that all this can be tested through blood work. If you do get your test done, I try to do that at least once a year, get my blood work done just to see where I'm coming in, because then you can get an idea of like where your vitamin D is at and where some of these other areas are at and what could be perfect vitamins for you to take that's actually going to really impact you in a heavily way. Because I think that in the end, what I've always understood is like those things I listed are great and they can probably benefit most everybody in some capacity. But I think that the thing that's going to benefit the singular person, like on the highest level, is by getting your blood work and figuring out what you're personally deficient in or if you have any issues. And then you can start taking the things that are going to help you to get those into a normal range. Because when you're in a normal range with everything, then that's actually going to have a heavier impact than taking something that you don't really even know if it's a problem in your life. Right? It's like having a bunch of protein powder when you're already eating a gram per pound of body weight. Like it's not really doing that much for you at that point anymore. Like it's kind of overkill. You're probably spending money that you could be putting elsewhere towards other things. And so that's kind of my main thing. Magnesium's another thing that you see a lot of people are deficient in. Fish oil is just something that a lot of people don't get enough of. You can get your it's omega-3 fatty acids, right? They're anti-inflammatory. They're going to help with things like stress and bringing down inflammation, and which a lot of people struggle with, right? Everybody has these days, I should say everybody, but a lot of people have a diet that's littered with processed foods, right? And so these omega-3 fatty acid stuff that you're going to find in like salmon, like some of those fatty fishes out there, eggs have them, avocados, I believe. Like I'm blanking on my whole omega-3 fatty. You can insert more. Matt, if you kind of know off the top.
Almonds, nuts, the cashews, seeds, all those, butters like nut butters, things like that are great sources. I think you mentioned different types of fish. Fish are obviously a big one. So there's a lot of options out there, but you kind of want to stay away from use them sparingly, right? Because they're packed with calories too, depending on what food choice you go with. So like you said, like supplementing with an omega-3 that has good, what is it? DHA and, I forget the exact numbers off the top of my head, but you want to make sure that it's a good quality omega-3 because there's a lot of cheap crap out there too.
And it's want to be high. Like the thing is like a lot of people will take the stuff from like Target that is really doing nothing for you in the end because it's not really that high in omega-3s in the end. So yeah, I take like a triple strength one. That's what I take. It's from JS Health. I don't know. I've been taking it for a long time. I just take 4 of their big things every day. And like, I also eat some good amount. I love salmon personally. And so I eat a good amount of salmon too and almonds. And so I would imagine I'm probably getting plenty of omega-3s in. But how about you? What supplements do you take and what, what's your philosophy behind them?
So every morning I take creatine, vitamin D, and throughout the day I'll also take a whey isolate or whey protein is mine. And then I guess you could throw another one in there is caffeine as well. That's the other one that I take.
Yeah.
So
I got that in the diet.
Yeah. I guess we can include that one too. A lot of people breeze over that and kind of categorize it as just like its own thing as being coffee or things like that. But yeah, caffeine's definitely a supplement as well too, which can kind of be its own category, because you can also throw in there pre-workouts thing. I'm just talking about just straight caffeine, black coffee. There's a ton of studies on it that show that it increases power output, increases the ability your volume to train, it suppresses fatigue, things like that. So it's a great supplement. I would recommend staying under about 500 milligrams per day, for the sake of remembering that your body has a tolerance to it as well, so that one cup of coffee or the 2 cup of coffees that you normally take to, get a certain feeling for it, a certain alertness, and have it affect you over time, you're going to build tolerance to that. So that has to increase. So kind of weaning off and like knowing sparingly where you can take a couple days off here and there will allow you to kind of, resist that ability to build a like the super resilient tolerance. It's the same thing with pre-workouts, right? So making sure that, remember, we do build a tolerance to caffeine. So that one scoop that once worked of pre-workout, you may have to take a scoop and a half, two, just to get the same effects and feeling that you did, prior when you first started that thing. So I always tell people that is, remember, you will build a tolerance to caffeine. So keep that in mind. Yeah, proteins is another one. So I'm a big fan of either whey. Concentrate's going to be a cheaper version, but isolate is going to give you a better concentration of the amount of protein per serving. So keep that in mind as well. You're going to see whey isolate and whey concentrate both out on the market for the whey protein as far as that's concerned. But from its muscle building properties is an awesome option. You also see casein out there as well, is really popular too. So that's more of, slow digesting. I'd recommend people who struggle with cravings at night and they're tough to get their protein in, and I'd recommend a casein. But for the majority of everybody else, something like a whey isolate. If you wanted to go the cheaper route, whey concentrate, but try to find a blend if possible, like a whey isolate / concentrate at the bare minimum, just because the FDA is requiring a very small percentage of your serving of protein to be, when they're concentrated, it's very small. It's like 15 to 20% of it technically, like legally, has to be protein. The rest can be fillers. Whereas an isolate, it has to be up to around 80 to 85%. So you're getting a much more concentrated dose of protein when you go the isolate route, hence why it's more expensive on the market. So if you're looking at a whey concentrate and a whey isolate and you're like, holy cow, like these are the same brand, but why is the isolate way more expensive than the concentrate version? That's why the dosages are just, which kind of can be confusing because you think, oh, concentrate, this must be more concentrate. I get a higher quality of protein in here. It's actually diluted a lot. So there's a lot of fillers in there. So generally you're going to see those a lot cheaper on the market. Isolates are going to be pretty expensive, but you're getting quality protein in. So again, using those as like literally as their intended supplementation in addition to a whole hearty healthy diet, and where you're getting those lean high protein quality meat sources in, things like that are going to help you. And so you can just use those sparingly to kind of hit your targets throughout the day, because those are going to help repair muscle tissue. They're going to help you stay satiated, and a lot of people don't talk about the repairing features and benefits that protein does, because everybody wants to just hit the gym super hard. So remember, a lot of the gains, most of the gains that you're going to make are actually in the recovery process. So making sure you get adequate amount of protein is super crucial. So yeah, protein, caffeine. I don't take a multivitamin. I do take creatine. So I think people get mixed up on creatine and what that is versus what it's not. I think people think you're going to retain a bunch of water is one of the common misconceptions. You do retain water, but it's intracellular water. So it's actually in the muscle bellies of your muscle tissue, which is a good thing. Here, remember, your muscle tissue is about 70% water. So it requires water to be able to build, function, operate properly. So we actually need that. That's a good thing. I think people think it's like, oh, I'm going to feel bloated and it's going to go straight to my gut and I'm going to be super puffy. It's not like that. So just straight creatine monohydrate, the plain stuff. There's a lot of stuff out on the market, has these additives and sugars and, all these different things. Just straight creatine monohydrate, and just mix it straight in my water, and actually add a little pink Himalayan salt for some added minerals as well, and electrolytes. And I just take that every morning, man. So creatine, vitamin D. So I'm very similar to you in terms of I take 5,000 IUs. So I do that as well. I'm up here in the Pacific Northwest. The sun's not out for a huge portion of the year. So it's one thing when last time I went and got my blood tested that they knew right away. They're like, oh man, you must be supplementing because your vitamin D is right around the top end range for being where it needs to be. And they're like 9 times out of 10, we see people way below that. So they knew right away I was supplementing with vitamin D, which is cool. And so that would be their recommendation if I wasn't already. So like Alex said, he's down in Arizona. So he's getting a lot of sun. plus he's supplementing with vitamin D, so he's going to be in a really good spot. But yeah, if you are somewhere in the Northwest like me and it's dark majority, for a good portion of the year, you absolutely should be supplementing with vitamin D, because the sun's not out. It's very hard to get. It's very challenging to get. But yeah, those are my main ones. I'm super simple with it, man. Caffeine, a whey protein, creatine, and most of those are taken first thing in the morning so that I don't forget. I mean, that's a big thing too. You can like have all these supplements. I think people miss the boat in terms of consistency with taking things too. So that can be like a whole nother topic as well.
Yeah, no, that's huge. And I even forgot you said the pink Himalayan sea salt. I take Element electrolytes every morning as well. I love those things. That's like one of my favorite things actually. And that's huge down here too. It's you get outside, you start sweating, especially in the summer. So that makes me feel good. And yeah, I'm pretty simple with it too. I know I have a few more that I'm taking than you, but in the end, like there's like it doesn't even have to be anything really, as long as you're able to get what you need to get in. And like creatine, we didn't really talk about too much. You dove into the bloating aspect or the retaining water aspect and how that's like kind of the misconception out there. Another thing that people don't really understand is creatine is probably the most studied supplement out there, right? When it comes to increasing your power output, like increasing strength in the gym, but also recovery wise. And I know there's been studies that have come out, and don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure that there's been studies like on like brain health and some of those like dementia, Alzheimer's, stuff like that, and how creatine supplementation seems to be helping with that, like it potentially like minimizing your risk or like reducing your risk of some of those type of diseases. I think they would maybe be categorized as
Yeah,
I'm
it's
not
been shown
100%
to
sure.
improve cognitive skills. So
Yeah,
yeah, mental clarity, and it's been helped, and the studies have come out as of recent too, which is pretty cool. We just thought it was like muscle building properties and things like that, but the more mental benefits from it have come out in recent studies showing improvements in cognitive skill and function, which is great.
that's huge. And so like that's, as you can kind of see, we're not taking everything under the sun. And I know I used to I used to have like the biggest supplement.
Yeah, I did too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My biggest thing, though, my biggest advice for people out there who maybe aren't taking in supplements or maybe you're thinking about taking other ones is just add one at a time. I think that what I used to do, there was a mistake, is I had like five at a time, and then I had no idea if it was even benefiting me, or I couldn't notice like which one was benefiting me, because like it's like I took all these out at once, and so like I'm maybe wasting my money on 3 or 4 of these that I don't even need to take because some random fucking guy that I was watching on YouTube told me that this was gonna help do some crazy fucking things for me, right? Like, so I would just say take one at a time, and just focus on building a good foundation first before you actually really like go crazy with these supplements. And just start with start with the ones we talked about. The vitamin D is a great place to start. Creatine, fish oil, like those are some of those places where it would be a great place to start. And then build from there. And if you can, go get your blood work done, and then you'll be able to really have a good base of maybe where you want to start, or maybe where you should start to get the best bang for your buck. So that's what I would say on just a starting point. What would you say, Matt, just on a great place to start for people out there who are thinking about starting to do supplements? What should I start with? Like, should I even do it? Like, how would you coach people to go about that process?
Yeah, capitalize on food first and foremost. Like get that dialed in first before you even introduce supplements, because you may not need things like we were talking about. It's like putting the cart before the horse. If you're just going to buy supplements and you can get a lot of that taken care of through your nutrition, you might just be doubling up on a lot of the stuff. But one thing that I for sure that everybody should take is, and to your point, because it has the most research and data and studies on it, is creatine. And if you're not taking that, it's one of the very few supplements that I personally can take, and I feel a difference when I can take it consistently versus when I don't. I could feel the strength. I could feel my ability to repeat sets in a workout, like challenging, hard sets. And that's really what it's doing. It's helping you replenish your energy stores in between power output. And so it allows you to perform and increases volume capacity, things like that. So that's one of the things that I, for sure, when I take it consistently, I can feel a difference versus when I don't for an extended period of time. I feel it in sessions. And so very few supplements do you actually like feel a benefit from, but that's definitely one where I personally can tell a difference. I notice my strength numbers go up. I feel like I move things a little bit easier. And it's just one of those things about being consistent with it. So if you're trying to narrow down between everything, like that's the safe bet, is start with that one first. And if you're somebody who pays attention to the scale a lot and you see some weight fluctuation up, remember, yes, you will retain some water, but that fluctuation up is not body fat. So keep that in mind. I know that freaks people out, but the benefits that you get from a couple digits going up on the scale are going to far outweigh, the stress of you emotionally attaching yourself to the scale. The benefits that you get from it are going to be phenomenal. So keep that in mind. It's definitely worth it. I would start there first. So creatine monohydrate, specifically just the plain creatine monohydrate. You can mix it in, some water, your drink in the morning, whatever you're deciding to do. I know people do like green supplements too. You can mix it in with that and just take it in your morning drink, kind of like your morning cocktail. Shortly after that, I know one of the most challenging things for people to hit on their daily caloric intake from a macronutrient standpoint is protein. So I'd recommend a good whey isolate or whey isolate concentrate blend for protein so that you can hit your protein targets, because that's crucial. That's essential. That's important regardless of whether you're at maintenance, whether your goal is to build muscle, or you're trying to retain as much muscle mass as possible and you're going into a caloric deficit. So regardless of what you decide to do, it's going to be super important. Sometimes it's hard, very difficult for people to hit their protein targets, especially transitioning into single ingredient, high quality food sources. You're going to notice you stay much fuller, easier when you start eating quality food, which makes it difficult to hit certain protein targets. So those would be the first two I would highly recommend. If I were to throw a third one in there, if you want a little boost for performance from an exercise or workout standpoint, throw caffeine in there too. So yeah, creatine, some sort of variation of whey protein. If you're gonna not be afraid to spend some money, a whey isolate. If you need to get a little bit more bang for your buck, a concentrate isolate blend for the whey, and then caffeine, creatine. So those would be my top three right there. Everything else you can kind of add sparingly. You mentioned a great point. It's like, don't just get supplements just to get them because you've been marketed to or so-and-so's taking them. You may not even need them. So getting your blood taken and getting your panel done, I mean, you're going to have laser like focus in terms of what you actually need and what you're really deficient in, because you might be taking supplements for stuff that you're totally fine on. So before you go wasting your money, you can definitely start with the three that I mentioned. The ones that Alex said, for sure, like those are just going to be guaranteed, like no matter what. And then everything else will be kind of where you're deficient at to kind of bring up some of those areas.
Yeah, I love it, dude. Well, hey, I don't have anything else to add to that. I thought that was great. And hope you guys enjoyed this. Hopefully this is helpful. If it was, make sure you subscribe if you're new, and then just share this with somebody you would think this could help. If there's somebody out there who has been thinking about getting supplements, maybe they're deep into the supplement game and this could help them kind of narrow things down a little bit more and maybe save some money. Share this with a friend, family member, coworker, whoever it is. We appreciate you guys taking the time out of your week to watch this and listen to this. And we hope you have a good rest of the week, and we'll be talking to you soon.